hari abagira bati agahinda ni kenshi iyo byibura tumenye ijambo rya nyuma basize bavuze. Iryo jambo rya nyuma yavuze inyibutsa urukundo rw'ababyeyi. Iryo jambo uwo mubyeyi yavuze rimpa icyizere cyo kubaho. Ati kunyica nimunyice ariko mundekera abantu. Uretse no kumenya ijambo rya nyuma, hari benshi tutamenya aho biciwe ngo byibura tubashyingure mu cyubahiro. Sinamenya aho wiciwe ngo byibura gushyingure mu cyubahiro. Sinamenya aho wiciwe ngo byibura njye maza n'indabyo. Icyo ntashidikanyaho nuko wapfuye wibazaga kuru kanjye. Icyo ntashidikanyaho nuko wapfuye wibazaga kuru kanjye. Abana barokotse Genocide bamwe muri icyo gihe bari bakiri bato cyane. Hari n'abatibuka neza isura y'ababyeyi babo cyangwa se abavandimwe babo. Papa harya wasa gute, mama wowe wasa gute. Papa harya wasa gute, mama sinibuka isura yawe. Abavandimwe banjye inshuti n'umuryango, nari nkiri muto simbibuka n'ukuri sinirenganya. Ntibyoroshye kubisobanura no kubitekerezaho. Iyo wibutse uwawe akiriho uramukumbura. Ukiriho sinigeze nigunga, ukiriho sinigeze niheba. Ukiriho nararwaraga nkarwazwa, ukiriho narabyaraga ngahembwa. Abarokotse Genocide dushima inkotanyi cyane zatumye twongera kubaho. Abenshi twarabyumvaga nk'inzozi. Inkotanyi z'amarere banyakubyara n'ukuri ndabashima. Mbese ubundi yatabamwe ubu ninde ubuvuga ubuhamya. Rwari urugamba rutoroshye, urugamba rwo guhagarika Genocide. Inkotanyi mwarakoze guhagarika Genocide. Iyo atabamwe ubuzima kuri bamwe buba bwarazimye. Iyo atabamwe ninde ubutanga ubu buhamya. Nongeye gutekereza urugamba rutoroshye rwo guhagarika Genocide tukongera kubaho. Abenshi muri twe twabyumvaga nk'inzozi, inkotanyi z'igikundiro n'ukuri ndabashima.
I am who I am because I value my past. The memories of yesterday can never be changed, but they give me a reason reason to live again. There is a reason I am here today, but there is no reason you lost your lives. You were called abusive names, deprived of rights to be humans, slayed because of who you were born. I am lighting a candle as the sign of resilience. I'm paying a tribute. You left a legacy, and I'm a fruit from the love you sowed. Let's say never again to genocide. There should be no war. There should be no genocide. Anyway, let's say never again to genocide. Let's say never again to genocide. I was young, I still needed you, but you were taken away from me too soon. If I had one wish, it would be seeing you again. Today we're strong men and women, even though you are not here to see. We're carrying on to make you feel proud out there, watching down at us. I am lighting a candle as the sign of resilience. I'm paying a tribute. You left a legacy, and I'm a fruit from the love you sowed. Let's say never again to genocide. There should be no war. There should be no genocide. Anyway, let's say never again to genocide. Let's say never again to genocide. I am a witness that if you and I come together as one, we can make sure genocide never happens again. History should be told and passed on to further generations. Let's all stand up and all sing out, never again to genocide. Let's say never again to genocide. There should be no war. There should be no genocide. Anyway, let's say never again
hari abagira bati agahinda ni kenshi iyo byibura tumenye ijambo rya nyuma basize bavuze. Iryo jambo rya nyuma yavuze igibutsa urukundo rw'ababyeyi. Iryo jambo uwo mubyeyi yavuze rimpa icyizere cyo kubaho. Ati kunyica nimunyice ariko mundekera abantu. Uretse no kumenya ijambo rya nyuma, hari benshi tutamenya aho biciwe ngo byibura tubashyingure mu cyubahiro. Sinamenya aho wiciwe ngo byibura gushyingure mu cyubahiro. Sinamenya aho wiciwe ngo byibura njye maza n'indabyo. Icyo ntashidikanyaho nuko wapfuye wibazaga kuru kanjye. Icyo ntashidikanyaho nuko wapfuye wibazaga kuru kanjye. Abana barokotse Genocide bamwe muri icyo gihe bari bakiri bato cyane. Hari n'abatibuka neza isura y'ababyeyi babo cyangwa se abavandimwe babo. Papa harya wasa gute, mama wowe wasa gute. Papa harya wasa gute, mama sinibuka isura yawe. Abavandimwe banjye inshuti n'umuryango, nari nkiri muto simbibuka nukuri sinirenganya. Ntibyoroshye kubisobanura no kubitekerezaho. Iyo wibutse uwawe akiriho uramukumbura. Ukiriho sinigeze nigunga, ukiriho sinigeze niheba. Ukiriho nararwaraga nkarwazwa, ukiriho narabyaraga ngahembwa. Abarokotse Genocide dushima inkotanyi cyane zatumye twongera kubaho. Abenshi twarabyumvaga nk'inzozi. Inkotanyi z'amarere banyakubyara n'ukuri ndabashima. Mbese ubundi yatabamwe ubu ninde ubuvuga ubuhamya. Rwari urugamba rutoroshye, urugamba rwo guhagarika Genocide. Inkotanyi mwarakoze guhagarika Genocide. Iyo atabamwe ubuzima kuri bamwe buba bwarazimye. Iyo atabamwe ninde ubutanga ubuhamya. Nongeye gutekereza urugamba rutoroshye rwo guhagarika Genocide tukongera kubaho. Abenshi muri twe twabyumvaga nk'inzozi, inkotanyi z'igikundiro n'ukuri ndabashima.
mu by'ukuri inkotanyi urebye uko zipfa wagira ngo zirazuka, ariko zo ziribeshya ngo zirazuka. bavugije induru basakuza cyane bavuga ko bamuvumbuye, ni gutyo bavugaga ko bagiye nyine kumwica ko ari inyenzi.
Kwibuka ari ibikorwa ibi twakoreye ahangaha, tukahaburira tukahicira abantu b'inshuti twasangiraga, tukabicara inzirakarengane ntacyo twapfaga.
We looked around us and smelled and saw. We realized that we were in the midst of a genocide.
The genocide in Rwanda in 1994 was a planned and political campaign. It came from a racist ideology called Hutu power.
Si ça recommence en 94, c'est qu'est-ce qui s'est passé à 59, les années 60, les années 70.
kirigishwa kigira izindi mbaraga ari nazo zashenye igihugu.
Umuhungu aravuga ngo ndamushaka ngo kandi nje mbizi ko ahari mwimakanira.
Maze kudufungira abakobwa bafungira mu byuma byabo, abamama bakuru babafungira mu byuma byabo.
Kuko nibwo umuryango wanjye washize nta n'icyanyibagiza uwo munsi.
On a vraiment voulu nous exterminer, on a voulu vraiment effacer toute trace que nous avons existé.
Isesero ni akarere gafite amateka katuwe kuva kera n'abatutsi. Imisozi yose mureba baje barahahurira kugira ngo barebe uburyo bakwirwanaho.
Atita kuko ndi umututsi ahubwo yumva ko agomba gukiza ubuzima bwanjye.
The young man and young lady who were working in our home were marked to be killed. What would you have done? Are you just going to say, well, good luck, I'll pray for you?
Mbona kwibuka ari ngombwa kuko uramutse utibutse nta nubwo ubasha kumenya.
Nous, quand nous nous souvenons, nous les reformons, nous les ramenons en vie.
Ils ne sont plus là, mais ils ne sont pas morts, ils sont en moi. Ils vivent en moi.
Bakanditse babikorewe bagomba kubyibuka cyeshe kugira ngo babyigishe,
kugira ngo n'abana bacu nabo bazabimenye babibwirizwe ntibazongereye kugwa mu mutego abantu baguye.
Thanks to the people that really managed to liberate, because I wouldn't be here.
The body of Rwanda was tortured, was assaulted. The body succumbed, but the spirit never did.
Imyaka 20 yashize, cyizere kandi kirahari.
Ukabona ubu ngubu uburyo igihugu kiyubatse, nje mbyita mu gahe gato cyane.
Turasha kubana n'abantu bose amahoro, bana batugire nabi, turasha gusabana tugasangira
ye barastabana barashyingirana, ubona nta bwishishanye bukiri hagati y'abantu.
Cyizere kirahari cyinshi, haba nahera ku giti cyanjye kuri njyewe nabaye mu professionnel wa mbere mu bijyanye no gutwara amagare.
Cyo nabwira cyane cyane abana ntibazapfusha ubusa amahirwe bagize yo kuvukira mu gihugu gishaka amahoro umutekano kuri bose.
Le futur est bon et on doit y tenir, et surtout pour nos enfants et surtout pour les générations.
C'est ma raison de vivre. C'est ma raison de vivre, Kwibuka.
Bavugije induru basakuza cyane bavuga ko bamuvumbuye, ni gutyo bavugaga ko bagiye nyine kumwica ko ari inyenzi.
Kwibuka ari ibikorwa ibi twakoreye ahangaha, tukahaburira tukahicira abantu b'inshuti twasangiraga, tukabicara inzirakarengane ntacyo twapfaga.
We looked around us and smelled and saw. We realized that we were in the midst of a genocide.
The genocide in Rwanda in 1994 was a planned and political campaign. It came from a racist ideology called Hutu power.
Si ça recommence en 94, c'est qu'est-ce qui s'est passé à 59, les années 60, les années 70.
kirigishwa kigira izindi mbaraga ari nazo zashenye igihugu.
umuhungu aravuga ngo ndamushaka ngo kandi nje mbizi ko ahari mwimakanira
maze kudufungirana abakobwa bafungira mu byuma byabo abamama bakuru babafungira mu byuma byabo
kuko nibwo umuryango wanjye washize nta n'icyanyibagiza uwo munsi.
On a vraiment voulu nous exterminer, on a voulu vraiment effacer toute trace que nous avons existé.
Bisesero ni akarere gafite amateka katuwe kuva kera n'abatutsi. Imisozi yose mureba baje barahahurira kugira ngo barebe uburyo bakwirwanaho.
Atita kuko ndi umututsi ahubwo yumva ko agomba gukiza ubuzima bwanjye.
The young man and young lady who were working in our home were marked to be killed. What would you have done? Are you just going to say, well, good luck, I'll pray for you?
Mbona kwibuka ari ngombwa kuko uramutse utibutse nta nubwo ubasha kumenya.
Nous, quand nous nous souvenons, nous les reformons, nous les ramenons en vie.
Ils ne sont plus là, mais ils ne sont pas morts, ils sont en moi. Ils vivent en moi.
Bakanditse babikorewe bagomba kubyibuka cyeshe kugira ngo babyigishe
kugira ngo n'abana bacu nabo bazabimenye babibwirizwe ntibazongere kugwamo umutego abantu baguye.
Thanks to the people that really managed to liberate, because I wouldn't be here.
The body of Rwanda was tortured, was assaulted, the body succumbed, but the spirit never did.
Imyaka 20 irashize, icyizere kandi kirahari.
Ukabona ubu ngubu uburyo igihugu kiyubatse, njye mbyita mu gahe gato cyane.
Turasha kubana n'abantu bose amahoro, bana batugire nawe turasha gusabana tugasangira
ye barasabana barashyingirana, ubona nta bwishishanye bukiri hagati y'abantu.
Icyizere kirahari cyinshi, haba nahera ku giti cyanjye kuri njyewe nabaye mu professionel wa mbere mu bijyanye no gutwara amagare.
Icyo nabwira cyane cyane abana ntibazapfusha ubusa amahirwe bagize yo kuvukira mu gihugu gishaka amahoro umutekano kuri bose.
Futur est bon et on doit y tenir, et surtout pour nos enfants et surtout pour les générations.
C'est ma raison de vivre. C'est ma raison de vivre, Kwibuka.
hari abagira bati agahinda ni kenshi iyo byibura tumenye ijambo rya nyuma basize bavuze. Iryo jambo rya nyuma yavuze igibutsa urukundo rw'ababyeyi. Iryo jambo umubyeyi yavuze rimpa icyizere cyo kubaho. Ati kunyica ni munyice ariko mundekera abantu. Uretse no kumenya ijambo rya nyuma, hari benshi tutamenya aho biciwe ngo byibura tubashyingure mu cyubahiro. Sinamenya aho wiciwe ngo byibura gushyingure mu cyubahiro. Sinamenya aho wiciwe ngo byibura njye maza n'indabyo. Icyo ntashidikanyaho nuko wapfuye wibazaga kuru kanjye. Icyo ntashidikanyaho abana barokotse jenoside bamwe muri icyo gihe bari bakiri bato cyane. Hari n'abatibuka neza isura y'ababyeyi babo cyangwa se abavandimwe babo. Papa harya wasa gute, mama wowe wasa gute, papa harya wasa gute, mama sinibuka isura yawe. Abavandimwe banjye, inshuti n'umuryango, nari nkiri muto simbibuka, nukuri sinirenganya. Ntibyoroshye kubisobanura.
Had one wish, we will be seeing you again. Today we're strong men and women, even though you are not here to see. We're carrying on to make you feel proud out there, watching down at us. I as the sign of resilience. I'm paying a tribute. You left a legacy, and I'm a fruit from the love you sow. Let's say never again, never again to genocide. There should be no war. There should be no genocide. Anyway, let's say never again, never again to genocide. Let's say never again, never again to genocide. I am a witness that if you and I come together as one, we can make sure genocide never happens again. History should be told and passed on to further generations. Let's all stand up and all sing out, never again to genocide. Let's say never again, never again to genocide. There should be no war. There should be no genocide. Anyway, let's say never again, never again to genocide. Let's say never again, never again to genocide. We are here as one nation. We say never, never again. We unite as human race. We say never, never again, never again, never again to genocide. Never again, never again, never again, never again to genocide. Never again, never again, never We brought you flowers. 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 We brought you I am who I am because I value my past. The memories of yesterday can never be changed, but they give me a reason to live again. There is a reason I am here today, but there is no reason you lost your lives. You were called abusive names, deprived of rights to be humans, slayed because of who you were born. I am lighting a candle as the sign of resilience. I'm paying a tribute. You left a legacy, and I'm a fruit from the love you sowed. Let's say never again, never again to genocide. There should be no war. There should be no genocide. that you were taken away from me too soon. If I had one wish, it would be seeing you again. Today we're strong men and women, even though you are not here to see. We're carrying on to make you feel proud out there, watching down at us. I am lighting a candle as the sign of resilience. I'm paying a tribute. You left a legacy, and I'm a fruit from the love you sow. Let's say never again, never again to genocide. There should be no war. There should be no genocide. Anyway, let's say never again, never again to genocide. Let's say never again, never again to genocide. I am a witness that if you and I come together as one, we can make sure genocide never happens again. History should be told and passed on to further generations. Let's all stand up and all sing out, never again to genocide. Let's say never again, never again to genocide. There should be no war. There should be no genocide. Anyway, let's say never again, never again to genocide. Let's say never again, never again to genocide. We are here as one nation. We say never, never again. We unite as human race. We say never, never again, never again, never again to genocide. Never again, never again, never again, never again to genocide. Never again, never again, never again. We brought you flowers. 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 We brought you I am who I am because I value my past. The memories of yesterday can never be changed, but they give me a reason to live again. There is a reason I am here today, but there is no reason you lost your lives. You were called abusive names, deprived of rights to be humans, slave because of who you were born. I am as the sign of resilience. I'm paying a tribute. You left a legacy, and I'm a fruit from the love you sow. Let's say never again, never again to genocide. There should be no war. There should be no genocide. Anyway, let's say never again, never again to genocide. Let's say never again, never again to genocide. I was young, I still needed you, but you were taken away from me too soon. If I had one wish, it would be seeing you again. Today we're strong men and women, even though you are not here to see. We're carrying on to make you feel proud out there, watching down at us. I am lighting a candle as the sign of resilience. I'm paying a tribute. You left a legacy, and I'm a fruit from the love you sow. Let's say never again, never again to genocide. There should be no war. There should be no genocide. Anyway, let's say never again, never again to genocide. Let's say never again, never again to genocide. I am a witness that if you and I come together as one, we can make sure genocide never happens again. History should be told and passed on to further generations. Let's all stand up and all sing out, never again to genocide. Let's say never again, never again to genocide. There should be no war. There should be no genocide. Anyway, let's say never again, never again to genocide. Let's say never again, never again to genocide. We are here as one nation. We say never, never again. We unite as human race. We say never, never again, never again, never again to genocide. Never again, never again, never again, never again to genocide. Never again, never again, never again. We brought you flowers. We brought you flowers. We brought you flowers. because I value my past. The memories of yesterday can never be changed, but they give me a reason to live again. There is a reason I am here today, but there is no reason you lost your lives. You were called abusive names, deprived of rights to be humans, slayed because of who you were born. I am lighting a candle as the sign of resilience. I'm paying a tribute. You left a legacy, and I'm a fruit from the love you sowed. Let's say never again to genocide. There should be no war. There should be no genocide. Anyway, let's say never again to genocide. Let's say never again to genocide. I was young, I still needed you, but you were taken away from me too soon. If I had one wish, it would be seeing you again. Today we're strong men and women, even though you are not here to see. We're carrying on to make you feel proud out there, watching down at us. I am lighting a candle as the sign of resilience. I'm paying a tribute. You left a legacy, and I'm a fruit from the love you sowed. Let's say never again to genocide. There should be no war. There should be no genocide. Anyway, let's say never again to genocide. Let's say never again to genocide. I am a witness that if you and I come together as one, we can make sure genocide never happens again. History should be told and passed on to further generations. Let's all stand up and all sing out, never again to genocide. Let's say never again to genocide. There should be no war. There should be no genocide. Anyway, let's say never again to genocide. Let's say never again to genocide. We are here as one nation. We say never We brought you flowers. 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 We brought you I am who I am because I value my past. The memories of yesterday can never be changed, but they give me a reason to live again. There is a reason I am here today, but there is no reason you lost your lives. You were called abusive names, deprived of rights to be humans, slayed because of who you were born. I am lighting a candle as the sign of resilience. I'm paying a tribute. You left a legacy, and I'm a fruit from the love you sowed. Let's say never again to genocide. There should be no war. There should be no genocide. Anyway, let's say never again to genocide. Let's say never again to genocide. I was young, I still needed you, but you were taken away from me too soon. If I had one wish, it would be seeing you again. Today we're strong men and women, even though you are not here to see. We're carrying on to make you feel proud out there, watching down at us. I am lighting a candle as the sign of resilience. I'm paying a tribute. You left a legacy, and I'm a fruit from the love you sowed. Let's say
good morning.
Never again to genocide.
No, you can please take a seat. Take a seat. Good morning. Your Excellency, the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Trade, Ambassador Macharia Kamau, Your Excellency, the Ambassador of Rwanda, James Chimonyo, the Director General of United Nations Office here in Nairobi, Ambassador Saleh Wakzaudi, Excellencies from the diplomatic community, led by the Dean of the diplomatic community here, colleagues, a special welcome to members of the Rwandan community here in Nairobi, students from area universities, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. My name is Nasser Iga Musa. I'm the Director for Information here at the United Nations, and I will be your moderator for this event. Welcome to all of you to this special occasion on the 24th anniversary of the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi, and also recalling that Hutu and others who opposed the genocide were also killed. This occasion represents a very important day for the international community. 24 years ago, the people of Rwanda were abandoned to their fate. In 100 days, close to 1 million people were slaughtered. The killings were committed by man against man, man against woman, woman against children. They even egged on children, some as young as 5 or 6 or 7, to join in their orgy of blood. The rest of us did little else but to watch. And that bloodshed stains all of us. This commemoration has been declared so that we can reflect and recommit ourselves to the fight against genocide and racism throughout the world. We at the United Nations have a sacred responsibility to combat hatred and intolerance. By sharing with future generations the lessons of the Rwandan genocide, the United Nations hopes to raise awareness and help prevent any repetition of the crime of genocide. We have a duty to teach our young people about the events of 1994 in Rwanda. It is thus appropriate that we begin this event with a prayer. And I call upon Father Fidelis Udahemuka to please lead us in prayer. Father.
In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, I begin this prayer reading from the Romans chapter 8, verses 18 to 21. It's about present suffering and the future glory. I consider that our present suffering are not worth comparing with the glory that will be revealed in us. For that creation waits in eager expectations for the children of God to be revealed. For the creation was subjected to frustrations, not by its own choice, but by the will of the one who subjected it, in hope that the creation itself will be liberated from its bondage to decay and brought into the freedom and glory of the children of God. Loving God, we come before you this morning with all our memories and our hopes as we commemorate the 24th anniversary of the genocide against Tutsi in Rwanda. Our memories are not to bog us down but rather to warn us that what happened should never happen again. And what we have experienced for the past 24 years, which reveal your presence and consolation to us, will also give hope for the future that we build and we continue to build for ourselves and for the generations to come. In a very special way, Lord, we present our dear sisters, brothers, aunts, uncles, nephews, nieces, friends, and all those who perished innocently in the genocide against our Tutsi. We also present our nation to you, that as we continue to build ourselves, your consolation, your energy and hope may make us true witnesses to the world that what has happened will never happen again. We also pray for the perpetrators of the genocide in Rwanda and elsewhere in the world, that, Lord, who is the source of all efforts and energy, may change their minds and hearts, so that together, as we forge forward, we can build a world where human rights, justice, and respect of human dignity in your name will continue to reign. We also ask you to bless us as we gather here today, that all our discussions, conversations, and everything that we talk about may be for nothing but for the greater glory of your name and for the glory of the people you have built, and most especially for building our nation and for saying never and never again to genocide in Rwanda and elsewhere in the world. We make our prayer through Christ our Lord. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit.
Thank you, Father. Everything requires context, and I want to offer you some context for why we're here today. On that note, could I please ask you to just dim the lights so we can run a 4-minute video? Thank you.
bavugije induru basakuza cyane bavuga ko bamuvumbuye, ni gutyo bavugaga ko bagiye nyine kumwica, ko ari inyenzi.
Kwibuka ari ibikorwa ibi twakoreye ahangaha, tukahaburira tukahicira abantu b'inshuti twasangiraga, tukabicara inzirakarengane ntacyo twapfaga.
We looked around us and smelled and saw. We realized that we were in the midst of a genocide.
The genocide in Rwanda in 1994 was a planned and political campaign. It came from a racist ideology called Hutu power.
Si ça recommence en 94, c'est qu'est-ce qui s'est passé à 59, les années 60, les années 70.
kirigishwa kigira izindi mbaraga ari nazo zashenye igihugu.
Umuhungu aravuga ngo ndamushaka, ngo kandi nje mbizi ko ahari mwimakanira.
Maze kudufungirana abakobwa bafungira mu byuma byabo, abamama bakuru babafungira mu byuma byabo.
Kuko nibwo umuryango wanjye washize, nta n'icyanyibagiza uwo munsi.
On a vraiment voulu nous exterminer, on a voulu vraiment effacer toute trace que nous avons existé.
Bisesero ni akarere gafite amateka katuwe kuva kera n'abatutsi. Imisozi yose mureba baje barahahurira kugira ngo barebe uburyo bakwirwanaho. Atita kuko ndi umututsi ahubwo yumva ko agomba gukiza ubuzima bwanjye.
The young man and young lady who were working in our home were marked to be killed. What would you have done? Are you just going to say, well, good luck, I'll pray for you?
Mbona kwibuka ari ngombwa kuko uramutse utibutse nta nubwo ubasha kumenya.
Nous, quand nous nous souvenons, nous les reformons, nous les ramenons en vie.
Ils ne sont plus là, mais ils ne sont pas morts, ils sont en moi. Ils vivent en moi.
bakanditse babikorewe bagomba kubyibuka kenshi kugira ngo babyigishe,
kugira ngo n'abana bacu nabo bazabimenye babibwirizwe ntibazongere kugwa mu mutego abantu baguye.
Thanks to the people that really managed to liberate, because I wouldn't be here.
The body of Rwanda was tortured, was assaulted. The body succumbed, but the spirit never did.
Imyaka 20 yashize, icyizere kandi kirahari.
Ukabona ubu ngubu uburyo igihugu kiyubatse, njye mbyita mu gahe gato cyane.
Turashaka kubana n'abantu bose amahoro, bana batugire nabi turashaka gusabana tugasangira
ye barasabana barashyingirana, ubona nta bwishishanye bukiri hagati y'abantu.
Icyizere kirahari cyinshi, haba nahera ku giti cyanjye kuri njyewe nabaye mu professionel wa mbere mu bijyanye no gutwara amagare.
Icyo nabwira cyane cyane abana ntibazapfusha ubusa amahirwe bagize yo kuvukira mu gihugu gishaka amahoro umutekano kuri bose.
Le futur est bon et on doit y tenir, et surtout pour nos enfants et surtout pour les générations.
C'est ma raison de vivre. C'est ma raison de vivre, kwibuka.
Can I now ask all of you to please rise for a minute of silence in memory of the victims, of the Tutsi victims of the 1994 Rwanda genocide. You may be seated. Thank you. I would now like to ask Ambassador Saleh Wok-Zaude, the Director General of the United Nations Office here in Nairobi, to convey both the Secretary General's message and her own personal remarks.
Thank you very much. Ambassador Macharia Kamau,
Principal Secretary, Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Trade of the Republic of Kenya, Your Excellency Ambassador James Kimonyo, High Commissioner of the Republic of Rwanda to Kenya, Excellencies, Ambassadors, and High Commissioners, invited guests, dear students, United Nations colleagues, Mesdames et Messieurs, ladies and gentlemen. It's my pleasure to welcome you all to the United Nations office at Nairobi on this International Day of Reflection of the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi in Rwanda. I wish to thank the High Commission of Rwanda for organizing once again this event in collaboration with our United Nations Information Center and for allowing UNON to serve as the venue for this annual remembrance following the decision of the United Nations General Assembly to change the name of the commemoration. 24 years after the genocide in Rwanda, this day remains an important occasion, not only to honor the victims, but also to reflect on how all of us, governments, the United Nations, civil society, the private sector, and other segments of society can contribute to build a world where genocide and other mass atrocities cannot take place. For the international community, we should use this occasion to look back on the past and to confront the challenges of the present, renewing our collective resolve to prevent such atrocities from happening ever again. I now have the distinct honor of delivering the message of the Secretary General of the United Nations, Mr. Antonio Guterres, on the occasion of the International Day of Reflection on the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi in Rwanda, which reads as follows. 24 years ago, more than 800,000 people were systematically killed in the 1994 genocide in Rwanda. The victims were overwhelmingly Tutsi, but also included moderate Hutu, Twa, and others. Today, we remember all those who were murdered and reflect on the suffering of the survivors who have shown that reconciliation is possible, even after a tragedy of such monumental proportions. Rwanda has learned from its tragedy, so must the international community. States have a fundamental responsibility to protect their populations from genocide, war crimes, ethnic cleansing, and crimes against humanity. It is imperative that we unite to prevent such atrocities from occurring, and that the international community sends a strong message to perpetrators that they will be held accountable. I'm deeply concerned about the rise of racism, hate speech, and xenophobia around the world. These base manifestations of human cruelty provide the breeding ground for more evil acts. People are still being killed, displaced, and their human rights abused in many parts of the world because of their faith or ethnicity. I am particularly troubled by the plight of Rohingya Muslims in Myanmar. Members of this religious and ethnic minority have been systematically killed, tortured, raped, burnt alive, and humiliated, and more than 671,000 have fled in search of safety in neighboring Bangladesh. This year, we are marking the 70th anniversary of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights and of the Convention on the Prevention and Punishment of the crime of genocide. Today, I call on the United Nations member states that have not yet joined to become parties to the convention, and I call on all states to back their commitments with action. To save people at risk, we must go beyond words. We must nurture the courage to care and the resolve to act. Only by meeting these challenges can we honor the victims and survivors of genocide and ensure that what happened in Rwanda is never repeated anywhere ever again. End of quote. Thank you for your kind attention.
We have a special treat now. We'll be listening to a poem. And I want to invite Tona Bella and Tetra Barbara to come forward so they can recite their poem. Young ladies.
We are now a seed of hatred planted beneath the 1,000 hills of Rwanda. A once sunny and vibrant nation now turns to gray skies filled with lightning and thunder. A people joined together by nationality, now divided in threes. Neighbors bring their brothers and sisters to their knees. Sin of neighbor breaking down doors, walking in the blood you poured, driving the innocent from their home and leaving parentless children on their own. Sin of neighbor, weapons at hand, the blood of Tutsis on high demand, instilling fear in their neighbors' minds and viciously turning against their own kind. Sin of neighbor, your machete sliced families apart. Your bullets pierce through the innocence of souls. The fire of your echoes sound like an instrument. Sin of neighbor, merciless and misled, you lay where Tutsi tears were shed. Oh, so many left dead, leaving survivors wondering what's to come ahead. We continue to preach the message never again. That's what we should live by, it's enough said. We are blood, we are pain, we are sorrow.
No, we were blood, we were pain, we were sorrow.
We are change, we are progress, we are growth, we are peace.
Even though all nations,
I mean everyone,
turned their backs in times of need, we came up on our own indeed, with no help, no support, not one touch. But as we look back, we hold no grudge. Innocents of neighbor are no longer victims. As for all the stereotypes, we say to hell with the system. We are not weak or broken, but we are survivors. Our struggle and triumph is reflected in our rivers. Innocence of neighbor breathes a sigh of relief. We are now liberation. We no longer have to grieve. We see change and prosperity. No longer confused, we have found clarity.
We are blood, we are pain, we are sorrow.
No, we were blood, we were pain, we were sorrow.
We are change, we are progress, we are growth, we are peace, we are now. Remember, renew, unite. Twibuke, twiyubaka.
Thank you very much, young ladies. Can I now invite the candle lighting team to come forward? We're about to light the candles. Candle lighting team. Come forward. forward this way. Moving. I should now like to invite Ambassador Mashari Kamau, DG Salu Okzaude, Ambassador Chimonyo, to light the candles symbolizing the victims of the 1994 genocide. There are 10 candles, I believe. Ambassador Kamau will light 3. Ambassador Salu Okzaude will light 3. Those of you who've had your candles lit, can I ask you to come to the top of the front here, please? Behind the, come forward here, please. You will form yourselves behind the survivor who will be speaking in a few minutes. So please make yourselves, okay, to a semicircle. Huh? Can I please ask Ms. Josephine Murebo-Ayire to come forward? And as she is coming, I want to give you some context as well. 1994 did not just happen. There was a pattern to 1994 that went back to 1959, when tens of thousands of Tutsis were killed, and even more fled to neighboring countries, Uganda, Tanzania, Burundi. Then the international response was muted. It was also muted in 1963, when even more Tutsis were massacred and scattered throughout the region, forced into exile. This silence seems to have emboldened those who were doing the killings and exiling, because they just kept upping the numbers, and there was no response from anyone until they could get to a point where they could say, let us be done with this Tutsi problem once and for all. And 1994 started. One survivor of the massacres and genocides against the Tutsi in Rwanda summed it up very well for a Ugandan newspaper when he said, from 1959 to 1990, it was a crime for a Tutsi living in Rwanda. Between 1990 and 1994, it became a death sentence. And from April 1994 till liberation, it was execution time. Ms. Josephine Murebo-Ayire is a survivor of those patterns, and she's here today to testify. I want to hand you over to Ms. Josephine Murebo-Ayire.
ndabaramukije mugire amahoro y'Imana.
Good morning, and may God bless you.
Nitwa Murebwayire Josephine.
My name is Josephine Murebwayire.
Nkaba naracitse ku icumu rya Genocide yakorewe Abatutsi mu 1994.
And I am a survivor of the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi.
nacikiye ku icumu mu karere ka Gasabo.
I survived in Gasabo sector,
umurenge wa Ndera,
and the Ndera district,
mu mujyi wa Kigali.
in Kigali.
Ndabanza mpere mbere gatoya ya 1994.
I will start my testimony a little bit before 1994.
Kuko n'igeragezwa ry'ibyabaye mu Rwanda byose nabinyuzemo uko byakabaye.
Because I can testify on everything that happened in Rwanda before then.
Mu 1959 muri revolution y'Abahutu.
In 1959, during the Hutu revolution,
nari umwana w'imyaka 5.
I was a 5-year-old child.
Nabaga kwa sogokuru iwabo wa mama.
I lived with my maternal grandfather.
Nabonye baza gutwikira abo babyeyi n'abatutsi bari batuye aho ngaho mu karere ka Kamonyi Irukoma.
And I witnessed as militias came to kill people in that sector.
Muri 1961,
in 1961,
nari nkiri kwa sogokuru.
I was still at my grandfather's.
Bagiye guhunga ngo bajya mu mahanga.
And they were about to flee the country.
Byabaye ngombwa ko nsanga ababyeyi banjye ariko nabo aho bari batuye bari barahavuye barahunze.
So it was necessary for me to leave my grandfathers and join my parents.
Bari batuye mu karere ka Kamonyi umurenge wa Mugina bahungira i Nyamata.
They previously lived in Kamonyi sector, but they had moved to Nyamata.
Ibyo byose byagaragazaga guhohoterwa ko batutsi no gushaka kubica no kubatatanya.
And that displacement is evidence of the harassment against the Tutsis during that time.
Muri 1963,
in 1963,
nabonye batwikira abantu mu nzu umuryango w'umuntu uko bukeye.
I witnessed as Mukabukeye's family was burnt inside their house.
Icyo gihe byari bibi cyane aho ngaho i Nyamata aho twabashije guhungira i Burundi.
That period was a very rough period and we had to move to Burundi.
Ariko gihe sinagize amahirwe yo kugerayo ahubwo abaduhigaga baradutatanyije gihe ntakara mu rufunzo.
But during that journey as we were fleeing to Burundi, I was unable to live with my family because I was separated from my family.
Icyo gihe baricaga cyane n'ubundi.
During that period there was a lot of killings.
Ababyeyi banjye babashije kwambuka bo baragenda bagerayo.
My parents were able to reach Burundi.
Nigihe wari umwana mukuru mu bana 6 ababyeyi banjye bari baravyaye.
I was the eldest of 6.
Nari mfite icyo gihe imyaka 9.
And at the time I was 9 years old.
Natoraguwe rero n'umugabo w'umuhutu wakoraga muri commune.
During the time we were fleeing to Burundi, I was separated from my family and I was picked up by someone that was part of the militia.
Ariko nari kumwe n'abantu bagize umuryango wanjye ba data wacu na mama wacu yababujije kuntwara aranyitwarira ubwe.
And even though I was with some of my family members, he refused them to take me with them. Instead, he decided to keep me.
Ntabwo byari ibihe byiza cyane kuko baricaga n'ubundi.
It was not a very good period because there were very many killings happening.
Ndashimira ko yantwaye akanjyana iwe akandera.
And even though I'm grateful that he took me to his home and he was able to bring me up.
Ariko nabwo nabayeho mu itotezwa rikomeye.
But I was harassed while I was there.
Uku nguku abanyamahanga baza i Kigali cyangwa mu Rwanda bakabanza kujya gusura urwibutso rwa Genocide.
Today, when people visit Rwanda, the first thing they do is go to the Kigali Genocide Memorial.
Nigihe wari icyitegererezo cy'inyenzi mu Rwanda barampamagaraga bakajya kunyereka abashyitsi ko bafite akana k'inyenzi.
It was the same thing with me when I was living with that family. I was the example they gave when visitors came to visit to show that there was a Tutsi living with them.
Nagira ngo mbereke ko byatangiye kera.
I'm saying this to show you that it started way before 1994.
Cyokora uwo mubyeyi yangire neza nshyize mu ishuri ndiga.
But that man was very kind to me and I was able to get educated.
Muri 73 igihe habagaho n'ubundi gushaka kwica abatutsi bahereye no mu banyeshuri. igihe cya Kayibanda.
And in 1993, during Kayibanda's regime, there was another episode of killings, and it started with students.
Hari abanyeshuri benshi bishwe, ariko twebwe twavuye mu ishuri aho nigaga i Remera Rukoma mu karere ka Kamonyi, n'ubundi duhunga bari bagiye kuza kutwicira ku ishuri.
There were very many students that were killed in Kamonyi, where I used to live, but I had left school before that happened.
Ntabwo twari tuzi icyo tuzira, ariko icyagaragaye nuko abanyeshuri twiganaga habayeho ikintu cyo kuvuga ngo twari dufite udukombe tw'amoko abiri, utw'umutuku n'ubururu. Bye byarantangaje, baravuga ngo utw'ubururu n'utw'abatutsi, utw'umutuku n'utw'abahutu, utwacu baratujugunya tukabura icyo tunywesha icyayi.
During my time at school, we had different cups that we used to drink from. There were blue ones and red ones, and the Tutsis were given the red ones, the blue ones. I did not know why, I did not understand why this was happening, but the ones that we used to drink from, the blue ones, were thrown away and we were unable to drink tea.
Icyo gihe twajyaga kuryama nijoro bakatumenaho amazi mu bitanda.
We would go to sleep and they would pour water on us while we slept.
Byabaye ngombwa ko dutoroka tuva mu ishuri turataha.
So it was necessary for us to leave the school and go home.
Aho sinavuze ko no kwiga byari ikibazo kuko buri gihe baraduhagurutsaga abahutu kwabo abatutsi kwabo.
Even during class, there was a lot of harassment that was happening. They would make the Tutsis stand aside and make the Hutus also stand on the other side.
Ubwo naje kuva kwa wa wundi wanderaga kuko nari mfashwe nabi cyane, mbona data wacu ndamusanga.
So eventually I left the house of the man that was raising me up because there was a lot of harassment, and I found an uncle of mine, and I went and started living with him.
Ariko nabwo byabaye ikibazo kuko yagiye kurega avuga yuko wa data wacu yanyibye, kandi yahoraga ambwira ko nintoroka akamfata azanyica.
But that man had warned me that if I ever left, that he would find me and he would kill me. So when I went to live with my uncle, he brought up a court case against my uncle saying that he had kidnapped me.
Uwo data wacu nawe yari yarakuwe ku kazi kimwe n'abandi batutsi bose.
And during that time, my uncle had also been fired alongside all the other Tutsis.
Data wacu yari umusore, namwitaga musaza wanjye, niko yari yambwira ati utazantinya ukajya uhora ufite urwikeko rwo kuri wenyine nta muntu mungana, ariko ubundi yari data wacu mu by'ukuri.
Even though he was my uncle, he was young, close to my age, and I used to call him like my brother. And he had allowed me to do so I would not feel alone and feel like I have no family.
Icyo gihe navuye mu ishuri ndi mu kane segonderi, ntabwo nongeye gusubira mu ishuri, nabuze ubushobozi bwo kwiga.
That time I left school when I had reached the 10th grade, and I never went back to school. I didn't have the means to go back.
Icyo gihe cyose nari nzi ko ndi imfubyi itagira umuryango.
That whole time, since I had been separated from my family, I thought I was a sole survivor. I didn't know I had a family.
Ubwo ngiye kugera ku buzima bundi bwo gushyingirwa muri 74 nibwo nashyingiwe.
I'm going to now talk about another episode of my life from 1974 when I got married.
Natangiye ibyishimo byo kubona mfite umuryango kuko narabyaye.
I was very happy because now I had started my own family. I had a husband and I had children.
Ariko maze ndaye ndi busabwe nibwo namenye inkuru yuko mfite ababyeyi, nabonye akabaruwa ka mama harimo n'agafoto ke.
And the eve of my traditional wedding, that's when I found out that I actually had a family. My mother had sent me a letter and it included a picture.
Ntabwo nabyemeye, nagize ngo nabanta bambeshya kugira ngo niye gushyingirwa nkomeze nduhe.
I did not believe it. I thought it was a conspiracy or a lie to prevent me from getting married.
Ariko noneho nakomeje kugenda nkurikirana amakuru neza ko bariho.
But regardless of my doubt, I kept following to make sure of their news.
Muri 75 maze kubyara umwana wa mbere nibwo nabonye mama.
In 1975, after I had given birth to my first child, that's when I officially met my mother.
Nakomeje kubana nawe nk'amezi abiri, ariko numva nshidikanya mbona atari we kuko nari nzi mama munini, ubuhunzi bwari bwaramukoko yarabaye umukecuru cyane, nkumva ntabwo ari ariko nkamukunda kuko namwitaga mama nyine.
Even though I had my doubts because she did not look like the woman I remembered, being a refugee had changed her drastically. I still loved her and I still called her mother.
kuza mu Rwanda kwari kugenda bihishahisha no gusubirayo bagiye bihishahisha giye kujya kubasura birananira nasabaga ibyangombwa bakabinyima.
For my mother to come to visit us in Rwanda, it was very difficult. She had to come secretly and go back secretly. And I had asked for my documents so I can be able to visit them, but those were denied.
Muri 80 basaza banjye babiri baraza.
And in 1980, I found out that I had brothers and they came to Rwanda.
Ubwo bari baravuye Burundi baragiye Tanzania.
They had left Burundi and they were now living in Tanzania.
Narababwiye be gusubirayo tugumane nanjye ngira umuryango tubashakira akazi barakora nkajya numva mfite imbaraga n'urukundo rwinshi rw'umuryango wanjye.
So when my brothers came to Rwanda, I requested for them to stay, to remain, so that I can also feel like I have a family. So they came, they stayed in Rwanda. We were able to get them work for them to do, and finally I felt happy that I had a family.
Muri 86 nibwo nashoboye kujya kubasura noneho mbonye recitation njyana y'abana batatu batoya mbona data mbona mama mbona abandi bavandimwe ndanezerwa.
In 1986, I was able to finally go visit my family in Tanzania, and that's when I met my father and my other siblings. And I was very happy because now I knew my entire family.
Nari mfite nyogokuru nyina wa mama yarashaje bantu ko agiye gupfa muri 90 nsubirayo kubareba.
And in 1990, I got word that my grandma was very sick, so I was also again able to go back to visit them.
Hari mu kwezi kwa gatanu ngiyeyo nta singarutse mu Rwanda bahita bambwira ko yapfuye.
That was in May of 1990, and when I came back to Rwanda from visiting them, I heard news that she had died.
Basaza banjye bagiyeyo.
My brothers went to Tanzania.
Ubwo noneho bavuye ari mu kwa 9 itariki ya mbere y'ukwa 10 intambara yo kubohora igihugu iratangira.
And they came back to Rwanda in September, and in October the liberation struggle started.
Ubwo noneho ngiye gutangira urugendo rurerure rwa Kalvariyo.
So now I'm about to start my testimony on the long journey of what happened in Rwanda after that.
Ku itariki 4 z'ukwa 10
on the 4th of October,
hari havuga amasasu menshi cyane I Kigali.
There was a lot of shooting in Kigali.
Ku itariki 7 baje kudufata mu rugo ko ari twebwe twaraye turasaba amasasu.
On the 7th of October, they came to arrest me at my house with the claims that it was us that were shooting.
Bari bafite liste iriho abatutsi benshi ariko twari abambere kuri iyo liste.
They had a long list of Tutsi families on that list, but my family was the first one on that list.
Umugabo wanjye yarazamutse agiye ku gasantre haruguru yacu ari giye uri mu rugo n'abana.
My husband had left the house going to a shopping center near where we lived, and I was left alone with my kids at the house.
Banshyize mu modoka baranjyana barambwira ngo umugabo yatorotse ngo nigiye bajyanye mu mwanya w'indabwa ntabwo yatorotse ari hari haruguru mureke tujye kumureba.
When the authorities arrived at the house, they wanted to take me to jail, saying that my husband had fled the country. But I replied to them saying that he just left for a little bit. I know where he is. I can go and show you.
Twahise duhura nawe.
As we left the house, we met with him.
Barahagarara baramubwira ngo nanze kubaha imbunda twari dufite ngo nazajye kuyibaha.
They pulled over and told him that I had refused to give them the weapons that I had, and that he should go and give them to them.
Yarabahakaniye bahita bamushyira mu modoka agiye barambwira ngo ningende ngo baragaruka kuntwara ngo babanje gutwara umugabo.
He told them that there were no weapons at the house, and so they put him in the car and told me to go back home, that they will come back for me.
Nakomeje gutegereza ko agaruka nkajya nteka ibiryo ngashyira mu kabati nkavuga ngo baraza ariko ntabwo yagarutse mu rugo. Hashize amezi 6 yose ko yafunguwe na Amnesty International.
I waited night after night for him to return home, and I would cook food thinking that he would return that night, but he didn't come. For 6 months he didn't come.
Kuva icyo gihe natangiye kubona urwango rwabo twari duturanye.
From that moment on, I started noticing my neighbors' hatred for us.
Bampakato ntihagire umuntu ugera mu rugo mbese duhinduka abanzi b'abaturanyi.
discriminated against me, and no one would come to visit me. And they truly became, they treated me like I was their enemy.
Itariki enye z'ukwezi kwa 1991 nibwo bavuze ngo tujye kureba abantu bafite abantu bafunze bareba amadosiye yabo muri parike.
On the 4th of February 1991, that's when they came to tell us to go and look at the court cases of people that were in jail.
Nagiyeyo nsanga procureur anyereka dosiye igaragaza ko umugabo wanjye yararasa umunsi Habyarimana indege hanuka ko ari we wayirashe ngo afite imbunda ifite iminwa ine.
When I got there, I was shown a court case against my husband, stating by the prosecutor, stating that he was the one that had been shooting that whole night.
Nsohotse mvuyemo twahuye n'abasirikare benshi bagenda bafata abantu bavuga ngo nitwerekane aho Kayitare anyuze. Kayitare wari inkotanyi kandi ntabwo nari muzi, ariko baramfashe barantwara inyamirambo kuri stade hamwe n'abandi.
When we left the prosecutor's office, there were very many people outside and a lot of military men requesting where a man named Kayitare was, who was an RPF soldier. But we did not know where he was, and we told them such, and they gathered us and took us to the stadium.
Ibyo byose ni kigaragaza itotezwa abatutsi bakorewe kandi biganisha kuri genocide yabarangije muri 1994.
All of this is to insinuate the harassment and the discrimination that existed against the Tutsis before 1994.
Ubwo mu kwezi kwa gatatu tariki 26 nibwo umugabo wanjye yafunguwe.
And on the 6th, that's when my husband was released from jail.
Yari umugabo wikorera, wari ufite akazi, yari afite garage yikoreragamo, yari afite amafaranga, araza arakomeza ubuzima busanzwe.
My husband was a businessman. He owned a garage. So when he was released from jail, he came back home and went back to work, and life seemingly went back to normal.
Ariko byose twabikoraga mu bwoba bwinshi, ariko tutabona inzira yo kuba twahunga ngo tuve mu gihugu.
And we continued living in fear, in a lot of fear, but we could not find an escape, a way to leave the country.
Reka ngere muri 1994 indege ya Habyarimana imaze guhanurwa.
Now I am going to talk about my journey in 1994 after the presidential airplane had crashed.
Itariki 7 mu gitondo Habyarimana yarapfuye.
On the 7th of April, the night after the President Habyarimana had died,
twebwe twabyumvise kuri radio harimo musique classique bavuga ko umubyeyi w'igihugu yishwe.
We heard it on the radio, and they were stating that the father of the nation had died.
Mu masaha 11 turimo gusigana tuvuga uko byagenze nuko bizakurikiraho, abasirikare n'intera hamwe bahise bagera mu rugo saa 11 za mu gitondo.
In that evening, while we were still debating and speculating on what could have happened, the soldiers arrived at our house.
Barakomanze ndabyuka ndakingura, ntabwo nari nzi abari bo.
They knocked at the door, and I went and opened. I did not know who he was.
Mpita mpura nabo abasirikare bafite imbunda, intera hamwe zambaye imigozi mu nda bizifite n'amagrenade.
And at my door, I was met with the military and some of the militias.
Barambaza ngo abasirikare barayebishe Habyarimana bari hehe, ndababwira nta musirikare uri ahangaho.
And they asked me where the soldiers that had killed Habyarimana were, and I told them there were no soldiers at my house.
Barambwira ngo n'abana banjye n'abasirikare ngo nimbereke imbunda barashishije.
And they replied that even my children were soldiers, and I should show them the guns that they used.
Narabwira nta musirikare uri ahangaha nta n'imbunda dufite. Barambwira ngo nimbereke umugabo, ndabajyana mu cyumba aho yari aryamye.
And they asked me to show them where the guns were, and I told them that there were no guns at my house again, and they asked me to show them where my husband was. So I led them to our room where my husband was sleeping.
Nawe bamubwira nk'ibyo bambwiye.
And they also asked him the same thing they had asked me.
Arabahakanira.
And he replied saying the same thing, that there was none of the things they were looking for at their house.
Barambwira ati niba nta mbunda mufite nimuduha amafaranga yose mufite.
And they replied stating that if you guys have no guns, then you should give us all the money that you have.
arababwira ati ntayo dufite barahakana ariko nyine yari ahari twarayabahaye.
And at first he told them that there was no money, but later on he gave them all that there was at the house.
Baratubwiye ngo twebwe turagiye ababica bari inyuma.
And they told us that they were leaving, but the ones that will come back to kill us are on the way.
Bahise bagenda.
And they left.
Nko mu masaa 3 mu gitondo twayobewe icyo dukora tutazi ngo turava he turajya he.
And at 9 in the morning, while I was still trying to figure out what's happening, not knowing where to go.
Kubera ko twari dufite urugo runini n'inzu nini tubona abaturanyi bacu b'abatutsi baramanutse abagabo abagore n'abana baje iwacu.
And since we had a very big compound at my house, we found out that our neighbors that were Tutsis came to seek refuge at our house, both men, women, and children.
Turabwira tose ko muje hano ariho bihera ko murabona n'ubundi bavuye hangaha bakatubwira ngo baragaruka muje gukora iki batereka dupfire hamwe cyangwa twirwaneho.
And we told them that we asked them why they were coming to seek refuge at our house, since our house was the first target, but they responded that we might as well all die together.
Hashize akanya abagabo baravuze ati abagore n'abana nibagende twebwe dusigare turebe uko biri bugende.
And after a while, all the men stated that the women, all us women and children should leave, and the men will stay there and defer the militias when they come.
Twari tuzi ko iyo abantu bahungiye mu kiliziya cyangwa kuri komine ntacyo baba twahise dufata inzira tujya Indera aho komine yari na paruwase yacu.
And since we all believed that going to the church or going to the district where the district offices were, it would be safe, so we, the women and the children, we all left and headed to the district of Indera, the offices.
Kuva aho twari dutuye kugerayo hari nk'iminota 30 umuntu agenda buhoro.
From my house to the district offices, it was about 30-minute walk.
Ariko ntitwabashije kugerayo kubera za bariyeri zari hirya no hino tware tutahageze.
But because there were so many roadblocks, we were unable to reach.
Twaje gukatira ahandi hantu hari amashuri ahantu biti Musave turahagera mu ijoro turara mu mashuri yaho hamwe n'abandi n'abahutu bari bahunze twese twari tarasobanukirwa ibyo ari byo twararanye aho ngaho ku mashuri.
And at nightfall we went to Musave, and there were schools nearby where the women and children that I had fled with, we all went and sought refuge there. But there were also Hutu families there because no one yet understood what was happening. So all of us, we all spent the night at those schools.
Mu gitondo ku tariki ya 8,
in the morning of the 8th,
ubwo nari nahunganye n'abana bane gusa abandi abahungu babiri bakuru ntabwo twari kumwe bari basiganye na papa wabo.
I had left with my 4 kids, and 2 of my eldest sons had stayed with their father.
Ariko twari dufite n'undi mwana w'umukobwa twareraga nawe twari kumwe ariko nawe twaje gutatana.
And we were also with one of my adoptive daughters, but later on we were dispersed.
Hahise haza imodoka y'intera hamwe yari twawe n'umushoferi wa komine.
And the car arrived that was being driven by the district's driver.
Yaraje gutwara umuryango we kandi twari duturanye mubwiye ngo adutware ancira mu maso arambwira ngo akacu kashobotse.
He had come to take his family, and when I asked him to take us as well, he spat in my face and said that our time had arrived.
Nafashe abana tugenda n'amaguru tugenda twerekeza Indera n'ubundi.
So I took my kids and we walked towards Indera.
Tugeze mu nzira duhura n'uwari burugumesitiri wacu.
And when on our way, we met someone that was our minister.
Atubwira ko hari umugore bishe ariko atajya kureba uwapfuye ahubwo abanje gutiza abazima adushyira mu modoka dusubiza kuri paruwasi.
And he told me that there had been a woman that had been murdered, but he said instead of me going to go see that woman that had been murdered, let me try and save the ones that are living. So he put me and my kids in the car and took us to the church.
Tugeze kuri paruwase nahasanze umugabo n'abana n'abasaza banjye.
When I got to the church, I found my husband, my 2 sons, and my 2 brothers.
ariko kubera ko kuri paruwase hari umupadiri wari warantoteje kuva umugabo wanjye afunze mu byitso agahora mpagurutsa mu kiliziya nyerekana yuko ari twe nyenzi nubwo tujijisha, mbwira umugabo n'abandi nabwo ntimureke tuva ahangaha tujye hariya mu seminari, niho hari ubuhungiro kandi niho harinzwe, niho hakinze.
But at that church, there was a priest that had harassed me while my husband was in jail, and he would make me stand up in the congregation to show me as an example of a Tutsi. And so when I saw him, I told my husband that this place was not safe, and I requested that we would move and go to the seminary instead.
Twagiye mu seminari tuhasanga n'abandi benshi.
When we got to the seminary, there were a lot of people.
Abapadiri baho baratwakira batwereka aho tujya.
And the priests there welcomed us and showed us where we could stay.
Badushakira ibidufasha.
And they gave us things to help us.
Ubwo twari duteranye n'abahutu ntabwo twari twakavangurwa.
And at the time we were still all with Hutu families and Tutsi families.
Bigeze mu ijoro twumva baravuga ngo leta y'abatabazi yagiyeho.
And when it was at night, we heard that the government of rescuers had been enacted.
Ariko ubwo abahutu bajyaga kwinjira bakaza bafite intwaro, bafite impiri, bafite imihoro, bafite inyundo, abapadiri bakabibaka bakabyimana, bamwe bakabitanga abandi bakanga.
But the Hutu families that were coming to the seminary came with weapons. They had machetes and all other kind of weapons, but the priests would ask them to hand over their weapons, and some would and some would refuse.
Abanze kubitanga bagiye kurega abapadiri ko babimye ubuhungiro, bajya kubwira abasirikare barindaga Nsabimana uriya koloneli wapfanye na Habyarimana kuko yari atuye hafi aho ngaho, abandi bajya Kanombe mu gitondo abasirikare babyutse baza aho ngaho.
And the Hutu families that had refused to hand over their weapons went out to report the priests to the soldiers, stating that they had refused to give them a sanctuary, and they reported them to the guards of a colonel that died with Habyarimana in the plane crash, and others went to in Kanombe to go report the priests at the seminary that they had refused to give them sanctuary, and that the next morning a lot of soldiers were at that seminary.
Hari ahantu nasimbutse gato murambabarira igihe cyo gufungura ibyitso, uwari minisitiri w'ubutabera witwaga Mbonampeka Stanislas yari yagize uruhare mu gufungura ibyitso.
You will forgive me, there is a small detail that I had skipped. During the time when they were releasing Tutsis from jail, there was a minister of justice that had played a huge role in the release. Yes.
Ariko gitangaje nuko icyo gihe cya Genocide aho yagiriye ku mugaragaro yabigizemo uruhare rukomeye kuko yazanye n'abo basirikare mu seminari kubwira abapadiri ngo badusohore dutahe, baraduha abasirikare bo kuturindira mu ngo zacu.
And it surprised me a great deal because that morning at the seminary, he arrived with soldiers and asked the priests to let us go and that we will be protected and they will give us soldiers to protect us.
Bakomeje kwanga kudutanga, arababwira ngo nibakomeza kwanga barabona kaga.
But the priests continued to refuse to let us go. And the minister, alongside the soldiers he was with, told the priests that if they continue to refuse for us to refuse to kick us out, that a great harm would come upon us.
Hashize umwanya mutoya yazanye n'abasirikare barasaba abapadiri, umwe ahitagwa aho ngaho undi bamusiga bazi ko yapfuye.
And after a while they came back and shot the priests. One died on the spot and one was injured.
Yahise atanga itangazo ko uzi ko ari umuhutu wese ashyira indangamuntu hejuru agasohoka agataha.
And after that he stated that whoever knows here that is a Hutu should put their identity cards up.
N'uwajijishaga agasohokana nabo yageraga ku irembo hanze bakamurasa.
And they asked all the Hutus that had identity cards to leave, and the Tutsis that tried to leave with the Hutus without their identity cards was shot.
Abo bapadiri bishwe gusa umwe yaje kurokoka ariko bimaze igihe bari abahutu ariko banze kwifatanya na bagenzi babo.
those priests that were shot in that seminary were Hutus, and they had refused to cooperate with the government.
ubwo hari ku itariki ya 9 interahamwe ziriwe muri icyo kigo no ku itariki 10 ku itariki 11 mu gitondo nibwo basesekaye n'abasirikare n'interahamwe nyinshi cyane baradusohora batujyana mu kibuga hagati.
On the 9th and the 10th and the 11th, the soldiers spent all those days at the seminary. And on the 11th, that's when they asked all of us to leave the seminary, and they put us in the yard.
baratubwiye ngo uzi ko afite amafaranga nayatanga isaye n'ay'igihugu na Habyarimana batangira kudukuramo imyenda badusohoye baducuje.
And they asked all of us that had money to hand it over, that it was not our money, it was the country's money. And they also asked us to take off our clothes.
Batujije mu kibuga icyo bakoze ni ukuturyamisha ushatse kwiruka bakamurasa amaguru icyakurikiyeho ni ukudutema gusa n'imihoro.
When we got to the yard, they made us lay down, and anyone that tried to escape, they would shoot their legs. And what happened next is that they started hacking at us, trying to kill us.
Iyo mpagaze hano ntanga ubuhamya cyangwa n'ahandi ngenda mutanga numva ari nk'ituro nturi Imana kugira ngo nyishimire ko yandokoye kandi kandinda.
Whenever I stand in front of people giving my testimony, I feel like it's a gift that I'm giving to God to say thank you for for Him saving my life.
Baradutemye twese twari hagati y'abantu 400 na 450 nijewe wavuyemo jenyine.
We were approximately 400 to 450 people at that seminary, and they killed us all, and I was the sole survivor.
Ariko hari undi mwana umwe we batemye abantu baramugwira, yari umuhungu twari tunaturanye n'iwabo, bamaze kumugwira bagira ngo yapfuye, yaje kuvamo ariruka ahungira inyuma y'ikigo cy'iseminari, ntago bamutemye.
And there was also another young man who, when they were hacking and at people, bodies fell on him, and he was able to survive like that. He was not injured because when the bodies fell on him, he was not discovered. They didn't see him.
Ariko giye barantemye imihoro myinshi mu mutwe ntimurebe ngo nashokoje nukorosaho.
But I was hurt. I was very injured. Don't look at me like this. I have very many scars on my head.
Umuhoro wa mbere narawumvise ariko ndi sinyizi nayimenye uko mpembutse nkoze mu mutwe nkajya numva harimo imyobo. Hari imyobo 3.
I felt the first cut on my head, but I did not feel all the others. But I have 3 scars on my scalp.
Nituye hasi ayamenye yise imbere yavuyemo asatura umunwa arasohoka. Ariko umunwa wanjye waridoze nta muntu wawudoze.
When I fell down, my teeth punctured my mouth, my lips, and I had a very huge scar on my lips, but no one healed me. The wound healed itself.
Naje guhemburwa n'imvura yaguye mu ijoro.
I was awakened by rain that fell that evening.
Ndyutse ngiye kureba ko abandi barokotse nkanjye uko nakangutse nsanga bose bapfuye abana banjye bwonko bwasohotse.
When I came to, I tried to see if there was any other person that had survived, but everyone else was dead. I looked outside and saw my kids, and their brains had been scattered.
Umwana wanjye w'umukobwa wa 4 wari ufite imyaka 13 badutemye dufatanye mu kiganza.
My 4th child, a daughter who was 13, was killed right next to me. We were holding hands at the time.
Namwinyugushe nzi yuko nawe yakangutse ariko yari yapfuye.
I tried to wake her up. I shook her, trying to see if she could wake up, but she was dead.
Ariko ubwo abahungu banjye babiri bakuru, umwe afite imyaka 19 undi afite 17, bo bari basimbutse ikigo basohotse baguye ku musozi w'iwacu.
But my sons, my 2 elder sons, one was 17, the other one was 16, had skipped the compound, and they were killed somewhere else.
aho narahavuye hari umupadiri wari uhagaze imbere ya shapere, hari abantu bishe batemaguye ariko batarapfa, ahagaze imbere aho ngaho naramusanze ariko arananyoberwa.
When I came to, there was a priest standing by the door, by the entrance to the seminary, and when I got up, I tried to walk towards him.
Imbere ya shapere hari jaride yari irimo imboga, hari harimo n'inzuzi nyinshi.
In front of the chapel, there was a field that had pumpkins.
Arambwira ati jya hariya mu ruyuzi.
And he told me to go to the pumpkin patch.
Nagiyemo, niba ari we wantwikiriye simbizi, ariko interahamwe zagarutse kureba ko abantu bose bapfuye ngo zongere zibatemagure, bakajya bavuga ngo kuko basanze ngiye kunywa amazi barambona bagiye kuntema, umwe aravuga ngo uyu ntari bumare kabiri ni mumureke ngo araza gupfa twigendere, bagenda batongeye kuntema.
And they went and hid in the pumpkin patch field, and there were some militias, some rebels that saw me when I was trying to drink water, and they came down to see if there had been any other survivors. And when they saw me, they were going to kill me, but one said that, look at her, she's not going to survive anyways. So they left without hurting me anymore.
And in
the morning I went back to the field where the bodies were.
Nsanga bose bapfuye mbura icyo nkora mbura honjya, sinashoboraga gusohoka, igipangu cyari kirekire sinari kucyurira, nashatse ahantu njya muri toilette zaraho z'abanyeshuri, njya mu yanduye cyane mvuga nti nta muntu watinyuka kwijyamo ariko abariho nihisha.
I went back to see if there had been anyone else that had woken up like I had, but there was no one. Everyone was dead, and I didn't know where else to go. I couldn't leave. I could not leave the compound, so instead I decided to hide in the toilets that were nearby. I went and looked for the dirtiest one because I thought to myself that no one would want to use this one.
Amaraso yari yanshizemo, aho hantu hamaze iminsi 5 ntaranywa n'amazi ntayo nari kubona.
I had bled so much and I felt very weak, and I stayed in that toilet for over 5 days with no water or any food.
Ku munsi wa gatanu nibwo wa mwana nababwiye nawe wari wahavuye yajemo n'abahunze abari babashije kumubona, ansangamo niwe watangiye kumpa amazi yo kunywa.
And on the 5th day, that's when that other young man I told you had survived came to also hide in the toilet and found me there, and he started giving me a little bit of water.
Nyuma gato nibwo haje kuzamo abandi basore bane, ubwo twabaye turi 5, haje 3 basanga uwo nguwo nanjye tubamo turi 5, twamazemo iminsi 21 ntacyo turya ntacyo tunywa.
And after a while 3 other young men came seeking, looking for a place to hide, and they found us in that small toilet. So that it was 5 of us, and we stayed there for 21 days.
Hari ahantu abana baje kubona isafuriya yatawe n'abari bahahungiye, noneho bajya hahandi hari imboga ariko bari barahacukuye baratwitse ya mirambo yose, ari mbona mpeka bashoreye kuko narabyumvaga byose uko bavugaga n'iki, babona ahantu hari utuboga baradusoroma dutetse, imyotsi igaragaye zantera hamwe ziragaruka kureba abantu bahari.
And while we were in that toilet, we could hear everything that was happening outside. A little while after I had entered the toilet, the militia came back and burnt all the bodies that were in the yard, and we heard that. And this is to say that after a while, when we had gotten hungry, the young men decided to go and pick some of the vegetables that were in the yard to come and cook. And and when they decided to come cook, there was smoke, and so the militias noticed the smoke.
Abo baje kongera kureba bari abashumba bo mu seminari aho wa mwana yari hishe, bari bamuzi baramubonye, giye bambonye baravuga ngo uyu mugore wamwicaye byamukoraho ngo kuko Imana yaramurinze, noneho batangira kutuzanira amata, amapera, abafite uko barya ntabwo nabishoboraga.
The people that came to check to see where the smoke was coming from were cattle keepers that lived in that seminary, and they had met the other young men who had survived. And when they came to see what was there, they noticed me, and they say that this lady, anyone who kills her, will be cursed because God has definitely saved her for a reason. And so they started bringing milk for us to drink, and those that could drink it. I was unable to.
Mu by'ukuri kuvuga ibyanjye biranangora, ariko kandi mba numva mbisubiramo kenshi. Njye nagira ngo mbabwire gusa ko no muri ibyo byago byanjye nabonye Imana, kuko nabo bana narababonye bamba hafi. Ariko icyantangaje cyane nuko mu matariki 30-29 gutyo muri icyo kigo haje kuzamwe interahamwe nyinshi cyane ziri nko ku 10,000.
I've given my testimony so many times and it doesn't get easier, but I really want to let you know that even though my life was difficult at the time, that I saw the hand of God. And this is to also mention that towards the end, there were about 10,000 militias that came to the seminary.
Bahungu bumvise zinjiye basimbuka ikigo bagwa inyuma barambwira ati tuzahurira mu ijuru turapfuye.
And when we heard it, the young men decided to leave, and they told me that we're definitely going to die now, and so we're going to go and not die here, but take heart and we'll meet in heaven.
Nagize ubwoba bwinshi nkajya numva amagufwa yanjye akomanya avuga rwose ku buryo umuntu uri no hanze yashaka kumva ko ari nk'ingoma zivuga.
I was very scared and I felt like my bones were knocking against each other and anyone could hear it.
Nahise nsenga isengesho nkumva ndavuga cyane nkuvuga ngo Mana yanjye nturi Imana ya Yakobo na Isaac na Abraham, ubi Imana ya Yosefina none ahangaho ndindi ntera hamwe.
And I started praying, and I prayed out loud, saying that God, you're God of Jacob, God of Abraham, I would like for you now to become God of Josephine.
Numvaga mfite ubwoba ko zamfata ku ngufu.
And I was scared that they would rape me.
Ngiye kubona mbona nkimara kubivuga intera hamwe irinjiye ifite umuhoro n'impiri iza kwituma muri ya toilette nari ndimo.
And as I was praying that, a militia entered that same toilet that I was in with a machete and entered the toilet to use it.
Icyanyeretse ko Imana yambayeho nubwo ibyabaye byari byarabaye nuko yananiwe kwituma kandeba akavuza induru ngo inkotanyi zirabamaze.
And one thing that really proved to me that God was with me is once that militia, that Interahamwe, finished using the toilet, he looked up and saw me and ran out yelling, crying that the RPF have reached and that they're about to revenge.
Zahise zisohoka ziruka zose uko bakabaye ibihumbi bingahe baragenda nsigara aho ngaho ntacyo mbaye babana bagarutse bazi ko napfuye basanga ndahari ndi muzima.
And as that particular one ran out screaming, all the other ones followed him, and they all left that compound, all thousands of them. And the young men came back thinking that I had been surely killed.
Ubwo inkotanyi zari zasatiriye zikomeza kugenda zirwana n'abasirikare n'izo ntera hamwe barahunga baragenda bagera i Kanombe. Bukeye ngira ngo hari ku itariki ya mbere z'ukwa gatanu nibwo inkotanyi zaje kuturokora.
And when the militias left, they left running. I think they went to Kanombe, but I believe it was around May 1st, and the RPF had advanced, and they were near where we were.
Ubwo ndarokotse rero nkuko mubyumva, ariko muri uko kurokoka hari abana bari babuze ababyeyi babo bagendaga batoragura ku ntumbi za banyina, abandi babaga batazi aho ababyeyi bari. Nari napfushije abana bose nabo bandi sinanzi niba bariho, ariko narumvise ko ngomba kuba umubyeyi w'abo bana badafite ababyeyi, nahise mfata abana iruhande rwanjye.
And eventually we were rescued by the RPF, and that's how I survived. And even though I had lost all my children, there were very many kids that had no parents where we were taken after being rescued from the field that we were in. And I decided and I felt that I needed to help those kids as well.
Inkotanyi zatangiye kumvura, nari naraboze mu mutwe, nyuzigwa, imisatsi byari bibi. Nta nubwo bari bazi ko nzakira, ariko Imana yarandinze.
I received medical help from the RPF. No one thought that I would survive, but I survived by the grace of God.
batujyanye ibyumba
They took us to Byumba.
tugezeyo ndarwara amaraso anshiramo mbona umuvandimwe umugabo twabaga ndimwe ba mama baravukanaga arambwira ati ndakujyana iwanjye ndamwe sinsiga abana banjye abo bana narafashe.
When we got to Byumba, I got very, very sick, and I met a man that knew me. We were relatives, and he said that he would take me with him so I could receive more medical care. But I told him that I was not going to go without the kids that I had decided to take care of.
Anyereka ko nta bushobozi afite bwo kudutunga twese ndamusaba niyo hari ahantu wabanshyirira ubikore. Hanyuma umwe yari afite imyaka 15 amuha umusirikare amugira akadogo abandi tubajyana muri orphelinat yari ihari.
He told me that he did not have the capacity to take us all, but I asked him if he could then make plans, arrangement for them to find other places to stay. One of them was 15, so he asked one of the RPF soldiers that was there to keep guard of him, and the others were taken to orphanages.
Ariko mbabwira ko nintapfa nabo bakabaho ntibabone umuryango ninkira abana banjye bazabama.
But I let them know that if I survive and I become healthy again, that I'll come back and get my children.
Ubwo rero bamwe babonye imiryango yabo hanyuma umwe niwe naje gufata baramusize muri orphelinat yari Kigali hari ahantu bita mu Rubirizi ndamufata.
Majority found their families, and only one was left, and I got him from an orphanage, and I brought him to my house.
Ubwo navuye ibyumba njya kureba mu rugo nsanga nitongo barashenye baratwitse.
So I left Byumba and I went back home, and my house was ruined.
Hari umwana mubyara wanjye yari yabaye umusirikare anshakira kwa kundi bavuga no kubohoza ambohoreza inzu ariko yari yararokoye barumuna be na mushikiwe nabarabazana ndabatunga.
I had a cousin who was part of the RPF army, and he was able to find a house for me to live in because my house was ruined, was ruined, and he had family as well, younger siblings that he had managed to save, so they all came and we lived together in that house.
Ubwo habaye isangano ry'abana bose b'imfubyi biwacu niho twahuriraga nkabahumuriza nubwo nanjye ntari ndiho ariko nari mukuru kubaruta.
So my house became a sort of refuge for all the orphans that had survived.
Ubwo mu kwezi kwa 10 nibwo ababyeyi banjye batahutse bava muri Tanzania.
October of that year, that's when my parents came back from Tanzania.
Bamenya ko ndiho bari bashyikiye Kibungo.
And they arrived in Kibungo, and they discovered that I had survived.
Musaza wanjye mutoya aza kundeba mpita tujyana njya kubakurayo hari inzu yacu batari barashenye cyane ndazanye bashyiramo.
And my little brother came looking for me, and once he found me, we went back together to go get my parents, and we brought them and put them in one of the houses that was still standing.
Ubuzima bwarakomeje bugoye ariko burakomeza kwiyubaka no kubanza kubaka umutima. Negeranye n'abagenzi banjye twari duhuje ibibazo b'abapfakazi ba Genocide twibumbira mu muryango witwa Avega.
Life was surely difficult, but to be able to continue living, one has to heal the heart first. So I was able to join forces with other survivors, and together we were able to heal and to continue living.
Twabonaga ubufasha tukabona icyo turya ubundi umuntu agashakisha mu bundi buryo.
We were given a lot of help from the new government, and but it was a day-by-day process.
Ndumva ntakomeza cyo kuri ubundi aho murabona ntabwo navuga ngo byaracitse ndiho kandi ndi muzima meze neza ndashima Imana ndashima igihugu cyanjye igihugu cyarenze ibyabaye kikita ku munyarwanda wese.
It's been a difficult journey, but I am very grateful. I am very grateful to God. I am very grateful to my country. We were able to overcome a lot, and today we live in a country where all Rwandans are cared for and appreciated.
Mu buzima busanzwe umuntu ariho ntakwiye kwiberaho akwiye kuberaho abandi.
In life, one should not live for their own. They should always live for others.
Nubwo mpagaze hamvuga hari benshi bari hanyuma yanjye nabo bicaye abana benshi bose nako dufite ihuriro twihurijemo hariya I Kigali kugira ngo tumarane agahinda.
And even though I stand in front of you testifying, there are very many other Rwandans that lost their entire families just like I, and that are still in the journey to heal. We've created an organization, an association to help one another heal and cope.
Humura nturi wenyine kuko umuntu ari wenyine aheranwa n'agahinda.
The organization is called Humura nturi wenyine.
Harimo abashaje cyane bafite imyaka za 80 n'indi.
There are some that are elderly, 80 years plus.
Icyo dukora turabasura dufatanyije na Vega yacu.
And we continue to visit them and to assure them.
Kandi igihugu cyacu leta yacu fatanyije na First Lady bakomeje gushaka aho abo bantu basazira bitaweho babubakira amazu yo kubashyiramo nabyo turabishima cyane.
And our country, through the First Lady, really takes care of us, trying to make sure that we can have a better life, and we're very grateful for that.
Nagize amahirwe yo kuza muri ihuriro ryanyu nk'umuryango w'abibumbye uri muri iki cyumba nagira ngo mbisabire kandi mbitumire.
I was very privileged to be invited to come speak in front of you.
Umuryango w'abibumbye bivuga umuryango uri hamwe niko nabyita.
And the UN stands for togetherness.
Niba muri hamwe nanjye turi hamwe murwanye genocide hatazagira umuntu wongera gupfa nkuko twapfuye.
And if we're together and you're with me, I would like to request that we fight against genocide and that nothing like I've been through ever happens again.
Mbwira urubyiruko ruri ahangaha n'urunyumva.
I would like to tell the youth.
Ntabwo umwana w'umwicanyi akwiye kwitwa umwicanyi naharanire kutitwa iryo zina aharanire kubana n'abandi neza. Nimwe maboko y'igihugu nimwe maboko y'isi nimwe maboko ya kiliziya n'itorero murwanye ibyabaye bitazasubira.
A child should not have to pay for what their parents done. A perpetrator's son should not have that follow them all the way, the rest of their lives. They should have their own identity. They should be allowed to prosper on their own. It should all be united for one country.
Ikigaragara nuko ari uwishwe ari utishwe twese tuzapfa ntabwo tuzabaho iteka ryose hano ku isi iwacu heza hiteka ryose naho tutareba kandi duharanira kuzagera murakoze.
One thing is very clear that those that perpetrated the genocide and those that survive will all have one permanent home, and it's not here, it's in heaven. So we should all aim to work for that. Thank you.
That was necessary. Very important for us to know why we're here today. You know, a cottage industry has sprung up. It has sprung up to challenge the experiences of survivors like Josephine. It has sprung up to challenge the experiences of the Holocaust, as it is now doing to challenge what happened in Rwanda in 1994 against the Tutsi. If humanity has any sense of what is right and what is wrong, We really ought to resist and push back against these revisionists. We have an obligation at minimum to honor the memory of survivors by not forgetting their inhuman experience they've been subjected to, and also what befell their families, their friends, their neighbors, and their people. We need to push back against revisionism. In that note, I would like, ladies and gentlemen, to invite the Ambassador of Rwanda, His Excellency, Mr. James Chimonyo, to make his remarks.
Thank you, Nessa. The Chief Guest, Your Excellency Ambassador Macharia Kamau, Principal Secretary, Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Trade, Under Secretary General and Director General of United Nations Office at Nairobi, Ambassador Zedwak, sir, and our co-host, Excellencies, colleagues, friends of Rwanda, fellow Rwandans, students, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It's really very hard to speak after this so moving and shocking testimony from Mama Josephine. But let me begin by expressing my profound appreciation for your support and your presence at this 24th commemoration of the 1994 genocide that was committed against the Tutsi in our country. As you all know, every 7th of April, Rwandans in Rwanda and beyond come together to mourn, honor, and remember those who were brutally murdered in one of the worst genocide of modern history. This year's commemoration here in Kenya began on Saturday of 7th April, where Rwandans and Friends of Rwanda participated in the Walk to Remember activity in honor of the victims of this genocide, which started from Uhuru Park to CBD and back to Uhuru Park, where we had an opportunity to talk about the same things that we'll be discussing today. And I take this opportunity to thank you all, thank all of you who participated in that walk on Saturday. At the onset of this solemn occasion, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the Director General UNON and the United Nations at large for passing a new resolution to recognize what happened in Rwanda as the genocide that was committed particularly against the Tutsi, which came to replace the old resolution that was so ambiguous, which did not define what took place in Rwanda in 1994. And so, from today onwards, 7th of April, will be officially marked as the International Day of Reflection on 1994 genocide against the Tutsi in Rwanda. And we will thank you for helping us and supporting us throughout this process. as it was mentioned during the remarks by Her Excellency the Director General, there are people, as you heard from the testimony, who were also killed during that time, who were opposed to the genocide ideology and genocide itself. As I was listening to Josephine, as she gave her testimony, I even looked at my speech and I felt that she has already said everything that I would want to say. But I understand we have invited a number of students to be part of this commemoration. So it's very important to very briefly go through some historical facts so they understand the context in which this happened. Genocide does not happen overnight. It's not just an event. It is a build-up of hate and polarization of society. It is a predetermined activity that is executed by the state. Using the case of Rwanda, as you heard from her testimony, since 1959, and you had certain instances in 1960s, and later in 1973, to 90s, and eventually 1994. We have had conflicts on the continent, very many conflicts, since this continent was created, but it's only Rwanda that had a genocide. And so it's very important for us to understand the difference between many other crimes against humanity and a genocide. This was specifically organized and planned to exterminate the Tutsi population. And when you look at the genesis of it, it has stages that are defined. When you compare what happened in Rwanda and many other different genocides, even the Holocaust, there are stages that when you look at them, even before the actual blowout happens, you will tell that genocide is going to happen. The genocide scholars have gone into details to explain what I'm saying. But I'm going to use what they say and illustrate what happened in Rwanda so that you get the context. They talk about classification in a particular society. People are classified as them and us. That started back then. You had Josephine. It is them and us. She's rescued by a man. She lives with him in his family. But every time he has visitors, they will call Josephine to show, come and look at how the Tutsis look like. This is a kid who was separated from the family, who doesn't know anything. You have visitors who are mature. They come to your house, and you call Josephine to come forward so they see how a Tutsi looks like. From there, even though the genocide has not happened, in the minds of Hutus, they know that these are different people. They are not among us. And then slowly you begin to symbolize them. How do they look like? If you saw the documentary, there was a picture, which is very famous, whereby a man's nose was being measured. It was being measured so that they can show, when you see a tall guy, light-skinned, like my brother Masharia here, maybe they would have thought he's from there. And that's how they describe. Slowly, before it happens, they know, they can tell the difference, even if you are not in possession with your national identity card. Then they begin to dehumanize. So that by the time you go out there to kill, you are not actually killing a human being. You heard Josephine saying that they were called cockroaches, snakes, and even in other genocides, they also have particular references. But in our case, particular case of Rwanda, they were called cockroaches. So even during the time when she was being called to be shown to the visitors, they were actually saying, you come and see the daughter of a cockroach. I'm saying this so to understand, in the minds of the people, they have that kind of understanding that they are people, yes, but we don't think they are actual human beings like us. So that by the time the killings happen, then you are not killing your fellow human being. Then you polarize the society. In short, this happened. You divide the people using different tools, particularly in Rwanda, especially close to 1994 when genocide was in preparation. They used the media. They are our enemies. They are them, we are us. They are bad people. They actually at night they develop ties. They have ties like animals, so that in your mind you are being invaded by non-human beings. Then you prepare. It was prepared for many, many years. In 1990s, the militias were being trained and weapons were being amassed to prepare for the actual blowout, so that when you reach the point of extermination, you have enough resources to actually execute your mission. Therefore, what happened in 1994 was a systematic campaign to cut out the extinction of the Tutsi population. What she said in 1950s, in fact, women and children were not killed. They were just looking for men. But I think the thinkers, the ideologists thought that it is very important when you are doing extinction or extermination, you have to take everybody, including the children. Now, imagine this. When the genocide began on 7th of April, as she mentioned, and I'm trying to say this because there's this confusion, this theory of when the president's plane was brought down, then people got mad and started killing. How does an aircraft come down, is brought down, that same night, you already have the list of people to be killed. That means the list were done before. You have people who have been trained ahead of time. That means you had a plan before. You have people with weapons, machetes, brand new machetes. That means you had that plan before. So the issue of aircraft does not really explain why genocide happened. Genocide is an ideology and it takes stages, as I just mentioned. 1 million people to be killed in just a matter of 100 days. It is a campaign that is very well planned and very organized. Imagine this, 10,000 people killed every single day. 10,000 people killed every single day. And this is not just a number. These are human beings, regardless of their sex, age, who are being murdered by the militias and the government forces. And it's not that, maybe what's not comprehensible is that when this was happening, the entire world knew that this was a genocide. Because as the government was preparing for what they called the final solution, meaning exterminating all the Tutsis, the Canadian general that you saw in the documentary, who was leading the UN forces, UN had deployed about 2,500 soldiers on the ground to ensure a peace process at that time. But he had received information of the imminent genocide that was being planned against the Tutsi population. And he sent cables to the UN, to the United Nations Security Council, to inform them, yes, we are here with 2,500 soldiers, but what we are seeing, things will get out of hand if we are not given a reinforcement in terms of men and women and also equipment. And guess what? When the genocide started, when Josephine's family was being killed, 6 children, husband, 2 brothers, despite the warning, and when the militias had the luxury of actually killing 400 people and come back to verify if there's anyone who is surviving so that they can make sure that he or she is no more. Instead of reinforcing the UN forces on the ground, that General Romeo Dallaire, Canadian general who was heading UN forces, was asking for, the United Nations Security Council came up with a resolution to do the contrary. The 2,500 soldiers on the ground be reduced now from 2,500 to 270 only. I hope you are getting this point. 2,500 soldiers who are supposed to protect the victims are withdrawn, and we are remaining with the skeleton number of soldiers, 270, to do what? To ensure the foreigners are helped to be evacuated, and then leave the victims at the mercy of their killers. That's how that vacuum enabled the militias and the soldiers to actually go out there and kill the way they wanted, and that's how we ended up losing 1 million people. So I think this opportunity that we create for remembering our beloved ones, the victims of the genocide, it's also an opportunity to have this conversation. They are gone, they can't come back. We're still alive. Josephine still have family members and friends who are alive. When you look at the theme of this year, it's remember, renew, and unite. So this opportunity, remembrance event, gives us an opportunity collectively to reflect on what happened, where we collectively failed, what went wrong, and what that we should do together to make sure that this will not happen again. And so, as the Director General mentioned, when we look at the level of extremism, terrorism, and the genocide ideology being preached here and there, it is high time for us to come back to a collective pledge of never again. And how do we do that? I think there are many ideas and resolutions out there. What is missing is that we are not acting timely, and we don't seem to have learned a lot of lessons from what happened in Rwanda and in other situations. But before I conclude, allow me to point out two very important matters that call for your utmost attention, particularly people from diplomatic corps. First is fighting the culture of impunity. After the genocide, most people who were involved, who planned, who executed, in the country, I mean back home, were brought to justice, faced justice through Gacaca and the classic courts. But those that were so sophisticated and were able to escape and go out of Rwanda, who are still roaming around the world, they live in our capitals, they work there, they are teachers, they do business, and many other things. Rwanda has done its part in terms of sending indictments to respective capitals. As we remember the victims, please, kindly, look at these indictments. Look at the credibility of the indictments. Ask questions, but help us to bring these individuals who are known by names and location to justice. That's how we can do justice to Josephine and others. Don't let them work in your universities, in your hospitals. And I know most of our countries are so advanced in terms of delivering justice. And we are saying, if you think extradition is not an option, you don't feel comfortable to bring these people to Rwanda, you can use your local prosecution mechanisms to bring these individuals to justice. There is no justification whatsoever to keep these individuals that are known by names, some of them mentioned by Josephine, to be living among your people. So I humbly call upon all our allies and friends to look at this matter critically and see how we can partner and cooperate to make sure that we bring these perpetrators to justice. Number 2, which is the last one. Most of European countries have passed stringent laws to fight denial of Holocaust. There are places in Europe you can't go out there and say Holocaust did not happen. There are stringent laws that punish anybody who denies Holocaust. Without trying to compare the magnitude of the crimes between Holocaust and what happened in Rwanda, but in essence, they are all genocides, right? Why would one country punish someone who denies Holocaust and not do the same for someone who denies genocide? When we have collectively adopted resolutions to say this is a crime that is recognized by the UN, and the UN is all of us, why don't we extend the laws that are existing to punish the denial of other genocides, including the one in Rwanda? So with that, and with a lot of humility, I'm asking you to send this message and be our advocates. Because the genocide scholars, today we'll be speaking to students after this session, they tell us, in the stages that I mentioned, the last stage of genocide is normally denial. Denial is a natural defense mechanism after the crime. But for genocide, they tell you, if genocide denial is left unchecked, it may form another cycle of a genocide. Because you are letting the future generation not to understand the facts around what happened, and therefore someone else will do the same, and eventually you end up having another genocide. That's why even those laws in Europe were passed, to make sure the denial of genocide becomes a crime, to avoid the reoccurrence of genocide in the future. So, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I ask with a lot of humility and humbleness that the 2 messages that come from the capital and myself, that we need to work together, bring the perpetrators to justice, face trial, but also fight denial of genocide. Because as you may have followed, those of you who are following these issues, you find a lot of literature that tries to actually negate what actually happened in Rwanda. So in conclusion, I want to once again thank you very much for coming to support Rwanda, to support the survivors and our country in this journey of trying to reconcile our people and transcend our differences and build a country that is for all of us, and not only for Rwandans, but also for the entire humanity. I thank Josephine again for your testimony, and we wish you well, and we will keep supporting you and others. Thank you very much for your attention.
I'm going to just allow those 2 last points sink in before I invite our next speaker. You know, not to be trivial, but Kenya is known throughout the world for its great coffee, great tea, wonderful country, animals, beaches, mountains, athletes. It is now increasingly being known for its diplomats. And one gold medalist is amongst us today in the diplomatic sense. That is a familiar figure in international diplomatic circles, as someone we're happy to see back home, representing the government of Kenya, His Excellency Ambassador Macharia Kamau. Sir.
A very good morning, if it is still morning, to all of you. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, the Director General of the Office of the United Nations, Madam Selework Zwede, my dear friend and colleague, the Ambassador of Rwanda, Mr. James Kimonyo, dear colleagues of the Diplomatic Corps, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, men and women, boys and girls, I would have loved to give you my own testimony about living in Rwanda, having had the honor and pleasure of working there as the United Nations Resident Coordinator at one point in my life. It was an amazing experience, one which has colored my worldview on very many things since. But today I'm here to read a statement as the Principal Secretary of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, so you'll forgive me if instead of giving you a testimony that I believe would have helped ground some of the issues and some of the concerns that you've just heard spoken to by Josephine and the horrors that we're experiencing in that country, and yet the resolute determination of a people and a country to transform themselves in a manner that has become exemplary of not just the Rwandan spirit, but the spirit of African people to overcome and to take their place in history as people of determination and self-actualization. So today I commend once again the great leadership and the great spirit of the Rwandan people. I'm greatly honored to join you in this commemoration of the solemn occasion of the 24th anniversary of the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi in Rwanda, under the theme, Rwanda Unite, Renew. On this day of remembrance, the government of the Republic of Kenya humbly joins the government and the people of Rwanda, and indeed all of you and the rest of the world, to honor the memory of the more than 800,000 victims who perished in the genocide. And we salute and honor as well the survivors of this horror that fell upon the face of the earth. And we recognize the courage of those survivors as manifest today by a lady who, for her entire life, experienced one horror after another. And yet, she is here, sound of mind, healthy of body, strong of spirit, to communicate to us what we as human beings are capable of. We also pay a special tribute to the people and the government of Rwanda for the fortitude and resilience in their unyielding journey of healing, reconciliation, and national recovery. We, ladies and gentlemen, recognize the fact that since 1994, Rwanda has made tremendous strides to rise out of the ashes of genocide, to try to forget the hatred, the deep tribalism, and forge a new path of reconciliation, peace, and stability, and economic recovery. We in Africa, and I know the world, has been inspired by the tenacity and ability of the Rwandan people to uphold shared human values through which they have united and reconciled even in the face of that history and that adversity. We pay tribute to their firm belief in their motherland and their determination to build it while paving way for a secure and prosperous future, and setting a wonderful example for the rest of the world. It is no wonder today that Rwanda has duly soared to a nation of reference in regard to various aspects of state recovery, national development, social reconciliation, and prosperity. We laud Rwanda's astute leadership. These things don't happen willy-nilly. They happen because there is a leadership with a vision and a purpose. And the country's broad, resolute political will, which has been at the center of the transformed governance and social economic fabric of the Rwandan society. We note with deep satisfaction that Rwanda's leadership has remained steadfast in its pursuit to enhance national building and development through various fields, including strengthening of national institutions, which we believe and trust will guarantee that genocide will never happen again, the consolidation of peace and security, cultivating national unity and reconciliation, spearheading women empowerment, because the genocide was mainly perpetrated by men, recognizing the importance of gender equality, and transforming the economic trajectory of the country through the country's Vision 2020. As a close friend and sister country, Kenya is happy to be associated with all these milestones of Rwanda's development. The sustained progress is a clear demonstration of our shared aspirations of enhanced peace and unity as guarantors of shared prosperity of all our peoples. And we therefore encourage the people and the government of Rwanda to stay the course and consolidate progress made over the years for the prosperity of the country and indeed for the prosperity of our region and our continent as a whole. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, while standing in solidarity with the people of Rwanda, in an endeavor to overcome one of humanity's darkest chapters, we also unite to reflect on how we can continue to work together to ensure a world free of such similar atrocities. We hear the Secretary General's message that terror and genocide continues to be in our midst around the world, and that we must remain vigilant. One critical lesson that we can draw from the Rwandan experience is the recognition that genocide is indeed not an event, but a well-organized process, a premeditated act that can be prevented, as we heard from the ambassador of Rwanda. This lesson is a constant reminder to uphold the simple yet profound vow of never again, which all of us must adhere to in our conviction and in our purpose, in order to allow that never shall we see such an event reoccur in our world. And accordingly, preventing genocide and all manner of atrocities is both an individual and a collective obligation. Every one of us in this room has an individual responsibility to that. Most significantly, it is a shared responsibility and core duty for each and every government to strengthen its policies and its instruments of governance, including all its institutions, that effectively seal loopholes for enabling factors of genocide to play out in our societies. It is therefore incumbent upon policymakers to always elevate their respective government systems to ensure that they are cultivating a culture of peace, democracy, participation, and inclusive governance. This will reinforce social cohesion and solidarity as a counter to negative sectoral or ethnic-based rhetoric or racist rhetoric that has oftentimes been used as a controlling factor in perpetuating genocide or other forms of hatred and atrocities. At the regional and international level, it is desirable that the international community represented here and elsewhere strengthens conflict prevention and mediation mechanisms and upholds the responsibility to protect citizens at risk of facing genocide. Kenya is firmly committed to continued support of both regional and international frameworks for prevention of genocide, including the 1948 Convention on the Prevention and Punishment of the Crime of Genocide, and the African Union Peace and Security Council's commitment to ensure that these crimes will also not happen. Another notable instrument of reference in this regard is the 2006 International Conference on Great Lakes Regional Protocol for the Prevention and Punishment of the Crime of Genocide, war crimes against humanity, and all forms of discrimination. Ideally, these protocols that I just spoke to represent the region's commitment to self-organize the prevention of genocide, violence, and mass atrocities in an endogenous manner among our own societies, so that we can be first responsible for ensuring that these atrocities do not happen in our societies. We therefore earnestly call on regional members and the international community to fully support the organization in every way possible in order to give requisite impetus to deliver on the mandate of the International Conference of the Great Lakes region, which we are a member of. And finally, Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, let us all commit to that solemn call that has been said here again and again, and that has been said not just since 1994, but even as far back as the Holocaust during the Second World War, that never again. Understanding that we must actively work together in the endeavor to promote peace and prevent genocide from ever happening anywhere around the world. Indeed, this would be the most fitting way in which to commemorate those like Josephine who have lost their loved ones, who have suffered great tragedy in the entire course of their lives. And here we are, 24 years later, still committed to ensure that not just Rwanda, but nowhere on this continent, and indeed anywhere in the world, should such an atrocity ever happen again. It is the only way in which we can honor the dignity of the survivors of genocide. I thank you all very much.
Well, thank you very much, Ambassador Macharia. Very eloquent words. We've come to the end of the program in this room. And just want to remind you, you were all handed these flowers. They will be laid where the wreath is by the staircase. There are a number of young people, Rwanda High Commission staff, UN staff, who will guide you as to where and how to lay your individual rows. I beseech you to remain seated while I invite the front row to depart in an orderly fashion from the hall. And as they are doing that, I want to thank sincerely each and every one of you for making the time to be here for this event, this particular event, and underlining that we will never, ever forget what happened in Rwanda in 1994 against the Tutsi, and forswear that we'll do everything possible to ensure such an act is never repeated in our world during our lifetime. So, please be seated and allow the front row to depart, led by our hosts. Thank you. Thank you very much.
yuzuye.
Pale kwa nini? Bonge. Bonge. Uliza sikija imesikika.
Okay.
Lidia ongea uliza swali.
Why is it not focusing? Look at you.
Toka na hiyo kichwa yako. Tuko kwa screen. Haya. This one is so fun. God. Piga alafu tutasema tulikuwa dengoni. Hebu jioni kwa siku. Si nimefanya hii kitu. Labda kujeni tujibambe na screen. Sura yangu ionekane. Here comes. Hebu piga ile screen picha. Ukiweza hebu zoom kabisa. Iko karibu. Lydia, hebu piga ile screen picha. Beat it. Ipige kama tuko hapa wote. Niko wapi? Ulingine uzoom kabisa ikuwe ni arrest. Leo status hazipumui. It will be us. Lydia, wewe uko wapi wewe? Mimi sijui. Hebu inama. Video umezoom vizuri inaonekana? Yeah. Kitu inakaa kwa mimi naweza shinda hapa.
Now, kill mic.
Pauline. 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 Nipige. Speaking onto the hata mimi. Have you guys seen my bag here? Huh? Yes. The first seat there.
Mariam. Hello. 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 Hello.